Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here with Natasha. I should have asked you before. How do you say your last name?
It's Vilaseca.
Vilaseca. And if you guys are on the replay, by the way, on YouTube or Facebook, just let me know. Comment down below, #replay, so I can shout you out. But we're gonna be talking about LinkedIn. LinkedIn's I actually just closed 2 clients last week on LinkedIn, so I'm personally, selfishly interested in this conversation because I see the opportunity not only for like people who have an online business, but also, like we were saying, like people who are looking for work online and looking for opportunities. I think LinkedIn's a very professional platform. Other social media is toxicer. Like Facebook, I can't be in the feed anymore, man. It's just too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you in LinkedIn? Like, how's LinkedIn? I don't really scroll. Is it good now, or is this a lot of stuff?
It's getting a bit worse when it comes to the kind of content that is there, because I think a lot of people are now turning towards LinkedIn and seeing the opportunity and being like, okay, awesome. Let me repurpose all of my content and just post the same stuff on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And as a business owner, it depends on what your purpose is. Like, why are you using that platform? What's the goal? And you want to be in line with that platform. So if you maybe have a visual business, you might be focusing on Instagram. If you want to go and get hired and get found by recruiters or find B2B clients, then LinkedIn's going to be the way to go. But you want to post content that's in line with your audience.
Gotcha. I have a question. So we're going to sort of hop into it, guys. If we have a bunch of people on, if you're here, say live, #live, so I can shout you out. Jake, what's up? This guy always has the same last name as me. We're not related though. So we're gonna actually. I kind of want to skip the introduction, but I'm just gonna go straight into it. How do people react more to your content on LinkedIn? Because I find that, like, you make a lot of connections, but you don't really know people. It's just a connection. Like, how do you get people to react to your content more and like it and engage? Like, does that just take time and trust to build up? Like, what do you see?
Yeah, I would say it comes down to 2 things. So rapport and then active reciprocity. So usually what I'll do is when I first connect with somebody, I'll literally ask them what kind of content they want to see from me. And then depending on what they say, I'll then tag those relevant people in the posts so that they get a notification saying Natasha's tagged you in this post. Then because we've already had a previous conversation about it, they're 10 times more likely to be like, okay, this is relevant to what we were speaking about. She's not randomly tagging influencers or people who have influence within the space. And the second thing is active reciprocity. So I'll spend around 30 minutes a day just going through my feed and sorting my posts by latest post. So the most recent posts that I've been put up, and I'll go and leave thoughtful comments and engage with those people's content. And that's not only going to help them come back to me and give me back what I've given them, but it also puts me in front of their audiences, especially if it's maybe a half competitor and I know all of their network is relevant. If I go and put some awesome content, have like the top comment on their post, then that's also going to open me up to a wider audience as well.
That's true. Because sometimes, like, okay, so you go to the most recent post and you just kind of start engaging on stuff. And I think that algorithm, I think LinkedIn probably likes that more too, if you're using the platform.
Yeah. So. And the cool thing about LinkedIn, like, this is just what I get excited about, is comments are included as content as well. So the LinkedIn algorithm will note a comment as content and see you as more active. So be more likely to push your content and your activity out to a wider audience.
Same if someone comments on your post too, right? Like, that gets shown in their feed?
Yeah. So if someone, for example, say we're first connections on LinkedIn and you comment and engage or share my post, that then gets shown to all of your first connections, and it'll say Daxy liked or Daxy commented on Natasha Vilaseca's post, and then it'll show a preview of that. So it kind of works both ways, so mutually beneficial.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So I jumped the gun on the questions there, guys. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself now. So can you tell people what's up, Jim? If you guys are here, let me know. I didn't tag you in this post, but I'll tag you after. It's hard to tag people like in StreamYard, like before, like on the Facebook tag, but I'll do it after. Or if you could just share it if you want your people to see it. But can you tell people like who you are, why you're awesome, kind of like just quick?
Why I'm awesome? That's a big statement to make. So my name is Natasha. I am a LinkedIn consultant. So I deal with B2B companies, primarily agency owners, other coaches, other consultants. I have kind of 2 branches of my work. So I have my agency, which deals with done-for-you clients. And then I have the consulting side of things, which is one-on-one or one-to-many services, stuff like that.
Gotcha. What are some like the most positive results you see people get when they like start using your strategy? Or what's up? Actually, Facebook user, yo. I don't know why it says Facebook user. I don't know why it doesn't say your name.
Creepy, but it's fine.
So yeah. So what are some like of the most common benefits, results you see people get like when they start implementing what you teach?
So I can give you like a couple examples. So I'll go from like both ends of the spectrum. For example, people that go through my free content, so I've got a free course. People that go through that, there's been a couple people that have gone from having like 2 to 3 calls per week if they're using paid ads, paid traffic methods. And then from using LinkedIn, we've had people literally post photos of their calendar with like 40 plus calls per month booked just organically through LinkedIn. So that's like awesome results in terms of the free content that I put out. In terms of one-on-one clients, literally like 3 days ago, my client, she's been working with me for a month and she just 2x'd her income. So she's gone from 5K a month to 11.5, which is just from inbound. We've not even started outbound yet. So I would say they're probably like the best.
So people messaging her?
Yeah.
So like she's just connecting with a lot of people and they're just looking at her profile and organically her profile is just set up, optimized right where they're just like, I want what you have.
Exactly. So like inbound versus outbound. Inbound tends to be a higher quality of lead in terms of getting those people on a phone call because they're familiar with your work. They've reached out to you. They've been engaged.
The first step, yeah. So they're like have high interest or pain, yeah.
Exactly. So with inbound, what we've done is it mainly comes from your authority page, which is what I call your LinkedIn profile. So your LinkedIn profile and any content that you're putting out. So people are organically finding her, whether that's through SEO engines such as Google, Bing, Yahoo, or SEO, which is internal towards LinkedIn because it's kind of like its own search engine. So if you focus on keywords, ranking, stuff like that, then people are looking using keywords. And then if your profile comes up, they're then going to be put in front of your content. You can kind of warm them up with those touch points, and then they're more likely to come and engage with you.
Do people actually look up keywords? Like, I'm just curious because like I always like the better way I understand stuff is if I do it, and if I'm not doing something, it's just hard for me to like know that it even exists. Like, do people like that? Like,
yeah. So by keywords, maybe I should have rephrased that. So by keywords, I mean, for example, if it's an agency and they're looking to hire and they might be looking to get a manager, they might literally do a search for social media manager. And if you
job titles and such.
Yeah. And you can do the same thing for looking for example, like clients. If I'm searching for, if I want to work with agency owners and I'm using LinkedIn free, I might search for agency owner. Or if they're looking for someone like me, people are going to search LinkedIn consultant. So I want to make sure that I have those words, which are going to be searched the most by my ideal client. I want to ensure that they're within my profile as many times as possible.
Gotcha. If you guys have any questions for Natasha, everyone who's here, you can drop them below. I'll get to them. What's up, Maria Andrews? So I'm curious, like, what's your #1 secret to being good on LinkedIn?
My #1 secret, I wish it was going to be more interesting than this, but it's honestly just being human. And I think the reason
being a human, okay, that's actually hard for some people.
Yeah, and
if you're using a software, it's definitely hard.
Yeah, and it's so obvious, but it's when you have a lot of people go onto a platform and they're trying to be different and stand out, it's kind of become this thing of who can scream the loudest online. And it's like who can cut through the noise by making the most rattle. But at the end of the day, people are now just getting
and just to say real quick, like in a lot of content creation or brands, like it's usually the people who pattern interrupt, where they stand out, are usually the people who like get engagement, you know? So that's true.
Yeah, so you kind of want to look at what other people are doing and go the opposite. But by the opposite, I don't mean doing the thing that isn't working. Like if something's working, you want to carry on doing that. But if I see a lot of people just speaking about awesome results, on LinkedIn, I like to put in stuff that's authentic and real. So I might talk about having like the worst month ever. Like it was just, am I allowed to swear on here, by the way?
Hell no.
Do you monetize Facebook Live audiences or something?
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm censored. So
okay. Yeah, like if you've had like a shit week, I like to talk about that because it just shows that I'm still a human being and it makes me more credible and trustworthy. If people are like, oh, this girl is just always perfect, that's not the real situation. So it's good to kind of say this thing is going awesome, like these amazing client results, but I've also been struggling with XYZ recently, and it makes people want to reach out to you and connect with you and empathize with you.
Yeah, just more like humanized, emotional, like because we're emotional, we're not just all logical. I'm curious. So you have like a free course and stuff, which is awesome. But like, people can learn more there. But what is like the minimum you think people should be doing on LinkedIn, like per week, per day, like to like get the benefits of it?
Yeah, I mean, there is like a lot of people think that you have to kind of sit down on LinkedIn and spend hours a day to get results. But a lot of my clients are really busy, and the maximum that they do is like 30 minutes a day. So you don't have to spend hours every single day, like reaching out to people cold. All you need to do is be systematic about it. So you could say at the start of the month, I'm going to set up a content calendar for 30 days. I'm going to plan 3 pieces of content per week that I can kind of pre-schedule and have ready. And then I'll have like a wild card where I'll just wait for that week. And then if there's anything relevant, which is industry update, staying ahead of the curve, or maybe you've been on a podcast or someone's written an article about you and you want to add that in, then you've got a space to do that. And then the rest of the time on a daily basis, like 30 minutes, engage with 10 posts of other people in your feed, clear out your inbox for 15 minutes. And that's kind of it. You just repeat that every day. Gotcha.
I'm curious. What do you hate about LinkedIn? Because or what's like the what should you not do? Because I already know, like, you know, someone just get first message just like tells me to go join their program, blah blah, and it's not even tailored. If they knew me, they knew it. Like, I don't need that. Like, what are you kind of like? What should you not do?
Okay, so I have like a couple pet peeves. The first one you just mentioned is when people, they're kind of just, you can tell it's a copy paste approach where they've just got one template, whether that's automation or they're manually doing it, but they've just taken one message and they're just using laws of average where they're just trying to mass market and it's not relevant to that person at all. And that definitely used to work. Like if we could go back to LinkedIn like 2 years ago, the messages I was sending out when I first started were atrocious. Like I would use myself as an example of how to not use LinkedIn when I first started out. But it was working back then because there wasn't.
Marketers ruin everything. That's what they say, right?
Yeah. And now it's people just sending messages that haven't been tailored to you in any way. And B, it's the use of automation incorrectly. So I'll have people, for example, they'll scrape a company name. But if you're targeting coaches, a lot of the time, the name of a company of a coach is their name. So my company page link is my name on LinkedIn. So I can tell when someone's used automation because I'll say, hi, I'm guessing you're the business owner at Natasha Vilaseca. And for Natasha Vilaseca's like workflow, and it just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah,
I could go on about a couple of things, but they're like the main things about people just not looking at your profile first and sending a message that makes 0 sense. And it's just comes across as lazy and almost disrespectful if you're trying to reach out to someone who's extremely busy and they've got better things to be doing.
Yeah. If you find someone who's like a good fit or someone like you kind of see like is someone you could help, like, what do you like, how do you like conversing with them? Me personally, I mean, I don't know if it's the best way, but I like asking probing questions, like just figuring out like what's going on. Like, oh, how long have you been doing that? Oh, is it working? Like just to see, like, let them kind of vent.
No, I think that's a really good approach. I think that's an awesome approach. What I like to do in terms of getting my foot in the door, like if they're not a connection yet and say, I've run like a search on SalesNav and I've identified 3 people that I really want to connect with, I'll go and engage with their content first. So I'll take a look at what they're doing. I'll go and leave a couple thoughtful comments and I'll usually do that for a day or 2. So I won't connect with them straight away. I'll just add them to a list. I'll save that search of profiles and then I'll engage with their content. And then like 2 days later, I'll send them a connection request and be like, hey, you might have seen me engaging with your content. Really enjoyed this piece about X. I can insert the post that I'm referring to and then say, I'd love to connect and keep on following your journey on LinkedIn. Chat soon. Like something super chill. And I try and go away from being overly professional, just because if you're extremely professional, depending on the niche that you're in, when I have a message that is very like cold and doesn't have much character, I associate that with someone trying to sell me.
It's very transactional, yeah.
Yeah, versus somebody who's being kind of like buddy with me, like, hey, and I can feel the energy in what they're writing. It makes me like them virtually. Yeah. And like, I want to be around your messages because you seem like a cool person.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you want to be magnetic.
Yeah, we actually have Brad Newman in here. He's a sales god. He's actually a sales model.
Sales model.
Yeah, he actually models while doing content online. It's the best content I've ever
Oh, that
seen.
sounds so interesting.
Like it's like part like parody, like that's funny.
Yeah, I want to see what this looks like now.
Yeah, I'll send you. I think he kind of retired it because I think it was pretty risque. But okay, so yeah, that's very true. Like, and I'm sure your response rate is much higher when you do that. It's probably like if they read it, they almost always respond, I'm assuming, because you feel like if someone takes the time out to do something unique. Something that I do, I don't know if you do it. I love the one thing I don't like about Sales Navigator is that you can't do video or audio. I love doing video to someone because, like, you know, it's just they feel like I always get a response with video. Do you ever do like video or audio?
Yeah, so I do both. So on LinkedIn, for example, if you have the app on your
phone,
DMs,
by the way, is what we're saying. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So on mobile, I'll do voice notes from my phone. I like that more just because it's faster and you can have like tone of voice and like expression in it. And people, you know that they're going to play it because you have that intrigue. Like, I think people that don't open.
People would tell me like, "Oh, it's the first time I got this." Like,
yeah, and it's still quite like an original approach. So voice notes really good. And in terms of video, I send looms to people. So I'll either send a loom at any point, to be honest, either as a connection message, I'll put the loom in there. Usually I'll do it as a welcome. So if someone accepts my connection request, I'll send them a really short video. Like, it's not a sales pitch. It's literally like, hey, thought I'd send you a video just because it's really hard to have a conversation with a real human being nowadays. So I'll call out automation, but I just wanted to introduce myself. This is what I do. I want to make sure that our connection is as valuable to you as possible. So if there's any specific pieces of content that you'd love to see me post about, then I'd be more than happy to kind of like write that up and tag you in it once I make it live. And that tends to, like, because I'm trying to give to somebody, A, my response rate is really high. And B, when they tell me what kind of content they want me to post, I can then go and use probing questions, and that could become a sales conversation where they might say, oh, I've actually really been struggling with XYZ. And I'm like, oh, I actually already have this YouTube video, or I have this free course, or I have XYZ that would help you. Would you like me to send it to you? And then I get them into like the top of the funnel, whether it's like a different page, course, etc.
So usually you say that after a connection request has been accepted, like as kind of opening?
Yeah, usually it's a welcome message if they haven't said anything. Or I'll do it at the point of asking for a phone call. So instead of typing it out, do you want to jump on a call? If they ask me a specific question or they tell me about a problem that they're having, so like they're answering those probing questions, then I'll use that and be like, hey, I thought I'd shoot a video so I can give you a more comprehensive answer. And then I'll kind of share my screen and like point out some tangible piece of advice for them.
Okay, that's a good approach, because I was always wondering, like, what do you say to someone if you sent like a request and a welcome note and they accepted the request but they don't say anything, you know?
Yeah,
it's a good approach. Like, kind of, okay, I'm gonna try that out. All right, so I just applied for LinkedIn Live today. I'm optimistic, but I'm not optimistic because, like, I don't know. I feel like they might not accept it because I haven't been super active the past 2 weeks, but I showed them the other live streams I do. What do you know about that LinkedIn Live, like the application approval process? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, so LinkedIn Live, I actually spoke to somebody in LinkedIn about this the other day. And basically, I can't really do LinkedIn Live because I speak about LinkedIn. So you can't kind of like go, yeah, so like my main topic is speaking about LinkedIn, so I can't do live. But what they told me is that they've kind of closed applications. Normally they reach out to you. So whenever I've done any work with LinkedIn, it's somebody from their team internally reaching out to me. It's never been me going to them and then them giving me something. But with live, they are like trying out. I think there's been a lot of influencers that aren't entirely happy with how it's set up at the moment. So I think they're still developing the customer experience. But they tend to start with influencers, people that have the followers, and then they'll drip it out to other layers depending on what kind of value that you're giving. So if they don't have somebody else who does something similar to you, then you're more likely to get accepted.
Gotcha. Okay. Did they tell you like what's the criteria ever, or?
Not really. So you fill out the application and it'll be like, what do you intend on speaking about? How often are you planning on going live? What are your other socials? Do you go live on Instagram? Like, do you have examples of that XYZ? But it is normally they only want people who have reach and influence, and B, if it's something which is going to add value that hasn't already been filled by somebody else. So
Gotcha.
if you're going into like an untapped niche, then they might say that's going to be good for getting more customer feedback, and it'll be good for them to kind of add that person to the roster of people who can go live.
Gotcha. They better accept me. I want to be sad.
Yeah, good luck. Let me know if you get accepted or not. I'll try and put in a good word for you.
Okay. So hey, what's up, guys? Drop some questions below. By the way, we still haven't got any questions. I don't know why. We usually get a lot. So what was that?
I said I'm not scary. You can ask me anything.
All right, what's new and like I know you don't. I don't want to ask you. I don't want you to reveal too much because obviously you have programs and stuff. You teach things, but kind of like what's new? Like any cool automations or things that you see like working, or are you still like just a human approach? You know, just dedicating a habit and routine around using it.
Yeah. Some automations can work really well if you use them correctly. So I used to use one called B2B prospecting tool, but I've actually been approached by a different software, which I'm going to do a trial of their services before I recommend it to anybody. So if that goes well, then I'll let you know, and then you can share it with your audience.
That's very moral of you. There's a lot of affiliate guys out there who will not do that. They're just like, yeah.
So I told them I wanted to try it out. And I'm going to make content out of it as well. Like I'll literally just record the entire process, the messages that I use, response rates, and compare it to an organic campaign. Kind of just pit myself against the automation and see what the results say. And if it comes back good, then I'll kind of promote that and share it with my audiences and stuff. In terms of what's new with LinkedIn, like LinkedIn, there's a couple things happening soon, which I can't talk about yet until they're public.
Well, you kind of just technically talked about it, so you cheated.
So there's a couple things. Like there's always new things on the horizon that they're looking about building out. In terms of automations, like LinkedIn doesn't like the use of automation on its platform, primarily just because it's kind of spamming users and they want people to spend as much time on the platform as possible. So if you are thinking about using automation, I would say use it sparingly and as an add-on to what you already have in place.
So okay,
what
was that?
Go ahead.
I was going to ask, so like, what are like, you know, dangerous actions or number of actions to take? Like, do you limit like how many connections or messages you do every day? I'm going to really quick before you answer, I'm going to shout out some people. What's up, Sam, Facebook user from, he's from England. Well, that's a question. I'll ask it after. But yeah. So like, what do you limit your actions that you do per day? Like,
yeah, so you want to stay below 100 in terms of connection requests sending out. Yeah, so that's kind of the cap, and like a lot of the automations will add human kind of pauses into it. So for example, like it used to be called Meet Leonard, now it's called Meet Alfred. But a lot of these automation tools is you'll set them to run an action, whether that's connecting with people, sending a welcome message, etc. And they'll take little breaks in between to make it seem like a human reaction. But don't go over 100 connection requests per day. And if you're just starting out on an automation, start at a lower frequency and then build it up over the space of like 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay. Is messages a factor? Because I've had on Facebook, on Messenger, if I send too many a day, like I'll get banned like for a day.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people complaining about that actually on Facebook. On LinkedIn,
I think it's like people do like the comment ladders, like comment this if you want my free thing, and then they message 1,000 people.
Steps. Yeah, I've never had that problem on LinkedIn. The only caps that you have are in-mails. So if you're not connected with somebody, you're going to have a set amount of in-mails that you can use depending on what subscription you have. But in terms of regular messages, I've never had a problem. And sometimes I've had between like 70 to 100 responses going out a day. And that's never really been flagged. So as far as I'm aware, no.
Gotcha. Okay. What's up, Mark? Thanks for the comments, guys. There's a question here. So you're going to have to put on your consultant hat for a second.
Okay, ready.
Dharmendra Rajput, hope I said that right. How to find potential web development service clients on LinkedIn. So what industry are you targeting? Can he like hit? Yeah. Do you want to like? I don't think we have like. There's just like there's going to be a delay, a lag, like to go back and forth and chat. So yeah, I got to answer. I'll try and answer it. Yeah. So in terms of potential web development service clients on LinkedIn, like
The process is going to be the same for pretty much any industry and service. It's just the targeting. So if you have Sales Navigator, then what I would recommend doing is inputting your target industry. If you know what kind of company sizes you're going after, then you're going to want to put that in as well. And then also having the seniority level of the person that you're looking for. And like the easiest way to kind of sum this up without going through an entire search would be, if you have your ICA, like if you know what your ideal client avatar looks like, you can pretty much translate that information into a Sales Navigator search. So if you know ideal industry, company size, geographical location, the person in the company that you want to reach, like decision maker kind of level, then put that into Sales Nav and do a search like that. If you have LinkedIn free, similar process, you are more limited. So I would say if you do want to do lead generation, then I would recommend getting Sales Nav, and you can get a free 30-day trial.
Yeah,
so
Sales Nav is kind of like when you're like making a Facebook ad campaign and there's like targeting, it's like almost the same how you can like do different tests, different targets and people. It's pretty interesting.
Exactly what it's like. Yeah, so with Sales Nav, like similar to what you just said in terms of having a Facebook audience, it's the same thing, but you can just see the audience straight away, because on Facebook you can't like see the people that you're going to be showing the ad to. But on LinkedIn, you can kind of just post it, have a look through that list, and then pick apart the people that you think are good and then exclude the others.
Okay, real quick. I need to get this stupid question out the way.
Is it stupid? No question is stupid.
No, this one's very stupid. But I get one. So like what's the like first connection, second connection, third connection, what's the difference?
It's how you can even give me eye contact. And you look at me and say it again.
You're taking too long. You're taking too long. You got to answer.
Okay, let me get through it. So first, second, third, think of it as being like a pyramid. So at the top of the pyramid, you've got first connections. That is the closest level to you. So first connection is when we are friends. So for example, I send you a connection request on LinkedIn, you accept me, that makes us first tier connections. A second connection would be a friend of yours who I'm not connected with. Okay, so say we're connected. Yeah. So you're like, okay, that's
I thought like I didn't know first connections were like a connection. I thought that was like, forget it.
It's fine, don't worry.
So what was your biggest struggle when you got started, and kind of like how did you, at least using LinkedIn to generate clients, and like how did you kind of overcome that?
So I guess the biggest struggle, it was actually understanding what my avatar was, like my ideal market, because the most important thing on LinkedIn is alignment between your sales message and the market that you're putting it in front of. So if one of those are off, then your success is going to be restricted and definitely limited. So for me, it was, okay, I've built these, and I mean, I had a problem with both sides, and then I kind of fixed one at a time. But initially, I didn't really understand what niche I wanted to go after. So I was kind of going after real estate for a little bit, then I was trying to do restaurants, and I was going for health and wellness. It was just all over the place.
You're experimenting probably, right?
Yeah, I was experimenting, but then the messages I was sending out were so long, and it was literally what I teach people not to do now, which is sending like a seemingly innocent connection request, like, hey, I'd love to connect with you, learn more about you, see how we can value each other's businesses a bit more. And then my welcome message would be like, hi, my name's Natasha, I run an agency, this is what we do, like calendar link, like the worst. Like I feel embarrassed and ashamed about my previous actions. So that would be my biggest problem. And I think the way I learned was just trial and error, because I didn't really have a mentor or anybody to kind of look up to on LinkedIn at the time. So what I kind of did is I just did it, and I saw the responses that I was getting, and people were like, I'm not interested, or like they'd say like it would take a little bit longer for me to like, get to know what your services are and what's in it for me. So it was kind of just trial and error, tried out a couple different things, started researching on social selling and how to engage with people and how to market organically, and kind of just started switching up my approach until I got one that worked, and then carried on doing that.
Gotcha. Cool. If anyone has any specific questions about using LinkedIn for their business, drop them below. So just to wrap up here soon, I'm curious. I think this is important to know. And we could talk about your programs after this and like the stuff you have, because I think your free course is really good. Like what are like your routines and habits that you develop around using LinkedIn? Like, can you run through that? Like whether it's daily or weekly, like what actions do you take?
Yeah, so I plan weekly and daily. So at the start of the week, I'll know what pieces of content I have going out. So I'll have like a 30-day content calendar. I'll have 3 pieces per week that are pre-planned at the start of the month. And then 1 piece of content that I haven't planned yet, which will depend on the week. So for example, like this podcast, I could have a random post this week where I've got a space where I haven't planned anything because this is something that's come up more recently that I couldn't have accounted for. So that's how I do content. And then weekly planning will be kind of KPIs for myself. So minimum amount of strategy session offers I want to make per week. And then I'll break that down into daily limits and then the amount of time that I'm spending. So I'll usually have
strategy session offers or like booked calls.
So both. So I'll want to make a certain amount of offers. And then for the end of the week, I want to have booked a certain amount of calls. So if I know I'm going through the week and maybe I hit a Wednesday and I'm off target for how many calls I want to be booking, then my daily is going to change. And I might plan in an extra 60 minutes the day after. So it's kind of flexible, but I will just plan out every single day. I want to post a piece of content. I want to reach out to X amount of people. I want to clear my inbox and kind of just have those like checklist things that I want to do. And then I'll just have my weekly KPIs, which I'll just make sure I hit.
Nice. That's really good advice for people listening. Cool. So like I'm really quick, like your content, like, what do you have? Like, do you cycle through certain types of content? Is it more educational, more story-based? Like, do you have a formula?
Yeah, so I try and it depends on whether I'm doing like, for example, a launch. So if I'm trying to launch something, then the kind of content that I'm putting out is going to be different. But on a weekly basis, I try and hit a couple different types of content. So I'll usually have story-based content, which doesn't have a call to action. The only call to action it would have is if I'm asking a question. So I'm asking someone to comment their experience.
Engagement. Okay.
Yeah, so like an engagement post, that'll be the story post. Then I'll have a value post where I'm just purely teaching and I'm not asking for anything. I'm
once
just
a week or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once a week. So sometimes it'll be more, sometimes it'll be less, but at least per week, I want to have a value post, story post, and then a direct call to action, which is normally linked to a video because I have a YouTube channel.
In the value post?
Content. Yeah. So for example, if I have a YouTube video, I'll add that so it's value, but then I'll have a call to action. So I'll say, this is what I've been working on this week. This is what's covered in the video. If you want to learn more about XYZ, then send me like this message or comment this below. Or if I'm giving something away, then I'll incorporate that as a 2-step. But the key with LinkedIn is being ahead of the curve, especially like because I'm on LinkedIn stuff. So I'll usually get heads ups from LinkedIn Sales Nav before something comes out. So they'll be like, okay, this is coming out on this week in terms of updates or what's new in the company. And I'll plan my content around that and make sure that I'm kind of pioneering anything new that's happening so that people come to my page to see what's happening with LinkedIn straight away.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because trending and like things that are like, you know, upcoming usually get a lot more clicks and hype. Eric Swanson says, awesome. We have another question here. I want to do a rapid fire here soon, which I always love doing. So as far as posting, real quick, like I've realized like their native media player blows, or when you use a social scheduler, it blows. Like if you use like a buffer or something, like it goes to another way. It's like unusable. Does that mean you can't use social schedulers for LinkedIn?
You can. Like I used to use what I used to use
Buffer or Hootsuite?
Hootsuite. Yeah, so I used Hootsuite for a while. I've tried all of them actually. I tried Buffer for a while. The thing with automations, like the main reason that they suck is because it's automated, you're not on your profile and you're not engaging with that content when it first posts. And with LinkedIn, like the algorithm, it's literally in the first 60 minutes. You want to be commenting, you want to be engaging as much as possible because they have like, similar to other platforms, they have like a multi-tiered algorithmic kind of system. So it'll go through automation first. So it's just seeing the engagement. And then it'll have like human who looks over it if there's any like reports or spams or like, no, is it inappropriate, that kind of stuff. But if you don't engage with your piece of content for the first hour or so, most likely it's not going to do very well. And it's not going to
reward you. Yeah.
To a larger audience. Yeah. So I would recommend staying away from schedulers if possible.
I see that on Facebook too. Like if you don't reply to comments and I'll post, like when you do start replying, it gets like a boost and more people start commenting.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I'll ask your question next, Eric, but you might not want to answer this, but he asked it. I got on late, so I don't know if this was mentioned. What is the top rated automation tool out there? The last I've seen is linked selling.
Yeah, so I mean, there's loads of different automation tools. Let me actually I'm gonna pull up the one that I'm gonna try out and then see. Because
you're saying, it sounds like they're like they're just a piece of the puzzle. Like they're not everything, right?
They're not everything. Like they can definitely aid what you're already doing. And the best thing with LinkedIn is you want to make sure that you've nailed the organic outreach first. When you know exactly what works, then a good way of increasing your volume and getting out to more people could be automation. But usually what I'll do with automation is I'll only automate the connection request message and maximum the welcome message. And a good little hack for this, it's kind of sneaky, but you know how I mentioned using looms as a welcome message and being like, hey, just want to introduce myself. So what we do with some of our done for you clients is if we're going to automate the initial request, because we'll usually do an automated campaign alongside an appointment setter who does it all manually. And with the automation is we'll get them to record an evergreen loom, which will send out as a welcome message, which is them introducing themselves, saying, I wanted to do this because it's a little bit more personal and actually have a worthwhile conversation with you. Again, offering what kind of content you want to see. And then we've seen that helps increase response rates a lot. But then from that point, you want to have a manual conversation with them. So you could use automation just for initial connection request, evergreen loom in the welcome message, and then that should spark a real conversation with that person.
Yeah, that actually works very well too. We do podcast booking for some clients, and we have them do a video like that too, a template. Not similar like that, more about their brand and what they say, why they would be a good guest. But we get a lot of responses when we send that to podcast. So Eric, he wants to interview you. So just get in our DMs, Eric. He has a show. So
slide in my DMs on LinkedIn with a personalized
on LinkedIn, not on Facebook. My tribe needs LinkedIn training. Speaker Eric, Mr. Awesome Swanson. Okay, buddy. There's another Eric. Eric K. Should you connect with everyone on LinkedIn or only your potential clients and people who have the ability to refer you?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Have the ability, I'm assuming.
Yeah, good question. So it depends on what your goal is on LinkedIn. I would say connecting with everyone, there's actually a term for that, and it's called a LinkedIn Lion, which is a LinkedIn open networker. And they're people that go and connect with absolutely everyone with
a double L, a LinkedIn Lion.
Yeah, so it's called LinkedIn open networkers. They're people that connect with everybody. I would say that it's more powerful to have a targeted network of people that are potentially going to be clients or they're going to engage with your content and have 3,000 connections over having 10, 15,000 connections of random people, which are probably going to be ghost followers and ghost engagement. So depends. I would say it's better to go more specific and connect with people who are going to be clients, ability to refer you, or maybe previous coworkers, teammates, people that are going to support and engage with your content, because that's also going to be a benefit.
Have you ever wiped out your LinkedIn, a lot of connections?
I actually helped a client with this the other day. So there's a piece of code. I don't know about this stuff. I just kind of did a lot of research. But when you connect with people on LinkedIn, it automatically follows them, and that can really clutter your feed. So a way to declutter your feed, if you've built a large network of people that aren't very relevant, is there's a piece of code that you can run through the developer mode on LinkedIn on your network page, and you copy and paste it, and then it basically automatically unfollows all of your connections, and then you can go back and specifically follow certain people whose content that you want to see. So that's a little trick. But what I do now is I don't accept everyone's connection requests. And if I see someone in my feed that isn't relevant anymore, then I'll go and remove them. But it takes a bit of time. I wish
that
was
going to be my next question for, I did the same. I look at my connection requests and I kind of are they kind of spamming me, or are they someone real? That also allows me to, like, if I want to send them a message after I look at their profile, that's a good way to do it. So, Mark, what are you drinking in the red? I'm actually drinking like it's not Kool-Aid. It's like a hibiscus.
I love that little jar.
Oh, it's just
very bougie.
Yeah, fuck. So it's just like a hibiscus kombucha. With everything happening, I'm just trying to like keep my immune system up. You never know if you can catch something. We've got some networking happening in the comments. I had the mentality of the lion, thinking that their connections will expand my content, but now I'm thinking it's not the best way to go. Thanks, Natasha. So,
Pleasure.
Natasha has here you go. You can pitch. What programs do you have?
In terms of free stuff, I would say, because it's free, that you might as well just go do it, because there's nothing that you need to commit to it.
It's good, yeah.
Would you? Thank you. How did you find it? Did you find it valuable?
Yeah, I recall, because it was like 2 months ago, like what I took away from it. Trying to remember a lot of your messaging strategies and kind of like how you communicate. I took away a lot of those and implemented them. I might have not watched day 5.
I'm catching you out now. I'm like, tell me what you loved about it. What day specifically did you enjoy? Yeah, so the
avatar thing is good. I already had my avatar in place, but if you need to like, develop it for LinkedIn, like it was really good.
Yeah, so the avatar stuff, it's kind of the same as how you do it for everything else, but it's just a couple specific questions that are going to help you translate.
If you have a link for it, I'll drop in the comments.
Yeah, let me grab it and then I'll
in the meantime, any questions you guys got, you can drop them.
Yeah, ask away.
Are you a multitasker?
No. I would like to
I'll take the link.
But wait, how do I send this to you? How does this work? Private chat?
There's a private chat, and then, or if you're on Facebook, I'll put it in the Facebook.
Okay, I'll send it to you on private chat, and then you can add that into Facebook.
Also, I'll just put a banner. Would people type that? Would they type that? They might typo your name. So I'll just.
I've never actually done a Facebook Live. This is like my first time.
Boom, boom, boom. All right, cool. There's actually that was on my. I'll put in the comments there if you guys want to check it out. It's free. So, okay. So rapid fire, because I don't see any questions. All right. So, what's your spirit animal?
Ooh, does this have to actually be rapid fire? Because now I feel under pressure. Like it's
yeah. Now you lost.
Spirit animal, I would say dolphin.
Can you speak like a dolphin? Now you
like why?
Question now. Can you make the noises?
No, definitely not, and I'm not gonna try.
Oh, man, that's not fun. So Eric just said I just got the ability to go live. Dude, I'm jealous, man. How did you? I was actually asking before, like, are they looking for something? Because I just applied this morning too. But he's asking how can I best use it.
I would say have a schedule just so people know, like in terms of repeatability. So say, for example, maybe choose a day. What I've seen a lot of people do is they'll have like Tuesday tips or whatever you want to have, but maybe choose a specific day and time that you're going to be live every single week or every single day.
I would say minimum weekly. Like if you do more than
minimum weekly, maybe twice a week, and have specific topics that you want to go over. So what I would do is I would maybe post a Q&A post at the start of the week and say, hey, going to be answering all of your questions live over the next 7 days. Drop all of your questions down below, and then you can tag all of those people when you go live, and then you're going to get like a boost of people that are joining straight away. Yes.
Definitely make it like a theme show, and then that could also be like, it doesn't have to be your whole thing of Q&A. That could probably be a section. You could probably make that the last 5-10 minutes, and you could have time to engage. But I think having a name to it and a theme would be cool, just so it's branded in people's minds. Cool, man. Thanks for being on, man. Cool. Elliot says great content, guys. Thanks, Elliot. Is that a photo with Robert De Niro, dude?
Yeah. I'm just gonna turn on my light because it's kind of getting dark. Yeah.
Okay. This guy's a legend. Wow. What time is it for you? You're in Cape Town, right?
Yeah, it is 10 to 6, but we're going into winter over here, so that's why it's getting dark super early.
Yes. I'm using StreamYard right now. I'm actually testing some other softwares like OBS and such, but I'm waiting for another moderator to come in to do fancier stuff. Okay, so back to the rapid fire. What's something that you used to? That's not a good one. What's something interesting about you that most people don't know?
I have a scar from a lion bite on my stomach.
I'm not gonna ask you to show it because I don't know. Like how big though?
It's like this big. It's like a curved, like a little curve, like from a tooth.
All right, time out. Was it a lion or was it a cub?
No, it was a lion. She was 14 months.
Oh, is that when they're lions? Okay. Have you seen that YouTube channel? Thanks for being here, Eric. But have you seen that YouTube channel? The guy who has like a pride of lions he raised when he was young.
Is it like White Tiger, Black Panther, or is it like that guy on Instagram?
No. That guy's a troll. A different guy who like lives like I think in Africa. He looks like a lion. He has blonde hair. Like he's a cool guy.
Yeah, but I want to know this guy.
If you search on YouTube, you'll find him. But like he talks about how all the language, like 90% of his body language, he literally just like is like chilling with them in a pride. It's pretty interesting.
I'd love to do that. I was out in Thailand.
No,
for
but
like
you would have to. He raised them from when he was young. They know him, so.
They know him.
He can, like, so he has to be physical with them, play back. If they don't know you, like you don't want them to play back.
Depends how big they are.
Okay. What's your number one book of all time?
Number one book of all time? Good question. I would say is this really cliche? I'm like, is this a cliche answer? Think and Grow Rich was one of the books that impacted me the most.
Definitely cliche.
In my life. It's so cliche. That had like a big impact.
It impacted you. So
sorry?
If it impacted you, it impacted you. So
yeah. So I've reread that book like 3 times now.
Nice. Okay, cool. Eric wants to know, how did you get a lion bite?
So I went to Thailand to volunteer at a safari park. This is about 3 years ago.
Which part of Thailand? In there as well.
It's called Kanchanaburi. So it's kind of like northwest of Bangkok, I believe. Yeah, like 2 hours. It's like in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. Went there for 2 months and volunteered for the big cat section. So they're meant to leave this area by the time they hit 1 year to go like on safari. But I was working like the leopards. There's like 2 leopards, 2 lions and a tiger in the enclosure with me at the time. And it was my second day volunteering and I was playing with the leopards. So I had my back turned to this lion and she'd been getting really aggressive. They didn't know why. She'd been getting really aggressive. She jumped at me from the side and I spun as she was jumping. And then like her mouth was open, like going towards my stomach. So as I like moved her head out the way, she like sliced my tummy.
Oh, was it like intentional or just a kind of a...
I mean, it's like a fine line. Are they playing or was she trying to eat me? If I hadn't moved her out the way, I think I would have been in hospital, probably with like a chunk of my stomach ripped out. So it wouldn't have been pretty.
Do you have it on film?
No, I don't. I did take my GoPro and I had loads of footage from all the big cats, but then I broke my laptop and lost everything. So
gotcha. Eric says, thanks for being here, Eric. I appreciate the comments, man. I'm happy to introduce you guys to the president of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, man.
Oh, that's so cool.
Small world. Okay, so it's my last question. So what's the number one thing you want to achieve in life?
The number one thing I want to achieve in life?
Yeah.
Can this be like internally or like does it have to be like physical? Like
no, it's unique to you.
Number one thing I want to achieve in life would be I feel like you're gonna hate me with all these cliche answers. I would say like
you want to be in a Disney movie?
Yeah, I want to be a princess. No, I would say like internal freedom from not have like excluding like financial stuff, but just having done everything that I want to achieve when it comes to looking after myself, friends and family, and being able to devote myself to things that I enjoy, that are passion projects that are going to give back to the rest of the world and things I really care about.
Okay. It's a pretty broad answer, but
yeah.
Okay.
There's
something in there. Yeah, I'll take it. Cool. Well, I appreciate you being on. It was fun. You're fun to interview. So yeah, for people who are listening, where do you want them to follow you, hang out with you, not hang out, work with you, whatever? Let them know.
So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Natasha Vilaseca, and YouTube. I have loads of free LinkedIn content as well. Again, it's just my name. So yeah, just search my name, connect with me on LinkedIn and YouTube.
And tell her you saw this interview. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she'll like that. All right, guys. I appreciate you being on. It was really fun. We learned a lot. So thank you, Natasha. And I'll end the live stream. So peace out, guys. Thanks, Eric.
Bye, guys.
See ya.